Good evening and welcome. I am Amarachi Ubani. Tonight, Army defends controversial Operation Positive Identification. It says military action will not scare innocent citizens, but will hunt for suspects who run away from the northeast. Federal government makes fresh moves to regulate social media usage to guard against extremism and hate speech, but clarifies government has no plans to stop freedom of speech. Flood victims in Benue State ask a federal government to dredge River Benue following heavy flooding that has sent many residents of Makurdi North out of their homes. And U.S. House of Representatives passes resolution to formally proceed with the impeachment inquiry against President Donald Trump.
On business news tonight, federal government plans to launch long-term development plan as successor to the current economic recovery and growth plan.
On sports news tonight, head coach Imama Mapakabo names his final list of 21 players to defend the Under-23 AFCON title in Egypt next month.
Hello, and from Abuja, Economic and Financial Crimes Commission EFCC intensifies clampdown on internet fraudsters. Describes recent arrest of suspected internet fraudster Ismaila Mustafa, also known as Monfa, and his Lebanese accomplice as landmark achievement.
The controversy over the planned Operation Positive Identification by the Army is still raging, but Army authorities say it is not designed to scare innocent Nigerians, but to hunt for suspects who may have fled the northeast to other parts of the country. The Army says guidelines on the operation are yet to be released and there would be no visible military presence or roadblocks. The Chief of Civil Military Affairs of the Nigerian Army, Major General Usman Mohammed, made the clarification at a meeting with the House of Representatives Committee on Army today. Our correspondent, Terry Ikumi, reports.
About 48 hours after a resolution on the floor of the House of Representatives urging President Muhammadu Buhari to call off the planned Operation Positive Identification by the Nigerian Army and mandating the House Committee on Army to interface with the Chief of Army Staff over the matter.
Almighty God.
The committee met with the representatives of Nigerian Army, led by the Chief of Civil Military Affairs, Major General Usman Mohammed.
It's not about everybody going out with his national passport, international passport, ID card, or whatever, all forms of identification that you have, no. But it helps if you have, of course, any form of identification. It's not going to involve additional troops on the road. You are not going to see any checkpoints. You are not going to see roadblocks.
According to him, the operation is to track down insurgents who may have fled from the northeast.
We have information that they are spreading out away from their traditional strongholds. So based on that, this idea of Operation Positive Identification came up so that when we undertake operations, that's cordon and search operations, we, based on intelligence, go to certain areas and we cordon it and we arrest people, and from there we identify them, and from there we'll be making a lot of arrests.
Meanwhile, with just a few days left for the various committees to conclude their budget defense sessions, the House Committee on Culture and Tourism meets with the Minister and the Director General of the National Council for Arts and Culture.
If we have to remove crime from us and reduce all these vices, this is the sector. You don't need, this is the only sector in the whole world that even if you make F9, you are not useless. How do we promote this country if you are giving me 100 million? To do what?
The minister, on his part, attributes the slow pace of development of the tourism sector to inaccessibility by road.
5 hours from Porako to Oka. Why? The road, sir. The road. 5 hours. I have pictures of the hanging lake in Iseyi. After Colorado in the world, it is the second biggest hanging lake. But access is a problem.
While different MDAs are asking for more money, the federal government should probably pay attention to some of these agencies that could be a source of revenue generation and perhaps job creation. Terry Ikumi, Channels Television News.
The Minister of Information and Culture says modalities for injecting what he calls sanity into the social media space are being worked on, in addition to an implementation committee set up to regulate broadcast stations in the country. Mr. Lai Mohammed says the social media is being hijacked by extremists proliferating hate speech, while the federal government has no plans to stop free speech. Hate speech and extremism cannot become free speech. Our correspondent, Kayla Megwa, has more.
It is the annual conference of the Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria, an event which is to serve as a catalyst for combating societal anomalies. This year, the focus is on extremism and how it is a threat to national unity, an issue which the Nigerian Broadcasting Corporation takes very seriously.
This is also key to fulfilling one of the political objectives of broadcasting as contained in the Nigeria Broadcasting Code, which is to inculcate in the people the spirit of tolerance of all shades of opinion.
Nigeria, for over a decade, has had to bear the impact of violent extremism, and the Chairman House Committee on Information and National Orientation counts the cost.
The extremism being faced by Nigeria in the last few years has cost us so many things in terms of human and material loss.
The lecture looks at preventive measures in combating extremism.
But violent extremism frequently lay claims to religious authorities as a means of asserting moral and spiritual certitude in a commonly understood discourse to legitimize their commitment to violence. The less ideological inclined can be drafted by social, financial, material inducement offered by violent extremist organizations.
As part of efforts to combat extremism, the Minister of Information and Culture says the regulations on extremism must include extremism on social media.
Yes, you heard me well. We are going to inject sanity into the social media space. With some extremists have turned into a platform for disseminating fake news and hate speech, which, like I said, are dangerous tools in the hands of extremists.
And may God bless Nigeria.
The fear with combating extremism, especially in the media, is that free speech will be stifled in the process. The Nigerian government say they know where to draw the line, and the Nigerian people will just have to trust them. Kayla Megwa, Channels Television News.
In the meantime, the Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, says vision, hard work and commitment to public good that gave birth to the first television station in Africa must not be allowed to go to waste. Professor Osinbajo made the comments at the 60th anniversary of the establishment of Western Nigeria TV at the International Conference Center, University of Ibadan. He says Nigerians must recognize that the achievements of the founding fathers of television represent steady shoulders to rest on for greater development of the country.
Today, as we celebrate the 60th anniversary of the establishment of the WNTV, we also celebrate what is possible in our nation and in our states. We celebrate also what vision, hard work, and a commitment to the public good can do. But as Ambassador Farumbi has said, the celebration of the phenomenal achievement in 1959 would be wasted unless we recognize that the achievement represents sturdy shoulders for us to stand on, and that today we can do more. And that the vision of AWO was to build a people capable of excelling beyond even his own achievements. Every generation has a historic responsibility to reach for the highest peaks that human capacity can achieve. Today, we are at the most advanced moment in science, in technology, and innovation in human history. That our only limit is our imagination.
To other stories now, several residents of Benue State sacked by flash floods are appealing to the federal government to fulfill its 2017 promise of dredging the river Benue. According to them, the flood has become a yearly occurrence, destroying properties and displacing them.
The rising water level from the now shallow river Benue continues to displace residents from their homes. Victims of flood try to salvage what's left of their property, and with the roads submerged, canoes become the primary means of transportation. For the residents, there is only one solution.
It is every year that how this thing has been happening. And my people destroy so many things. See, if federal government help us to dig this place and put it where the water will be flowing in than to be stopping other people.
River Benue has to be dug so that this thing will give a permanent solution be taken to avoid future occurrences. River Benue has to be dug.
Governor Samuel Otomho directs the State Emergency Management Agency to open a displaced persons camp at the Makurdi International Market, visits the affected areas to assess the situation.
The only way we can have a permanent solution against this flooding is when River Benue is dredged. Now it is a shallow river, and once there is excess rainfall or release of water from Lado Dam in Cameroon, you see it overflowing East Bank.
I have carried out the assessment. So with his directive, Benue SEMA together with these agencies are preparing for intervention to give to the victims.
Residents of Makurdi, Agatu, Logo, Buruku, Goma, Katsinala and Gwe West have all experienced the pains caused by flood displacement, with more reports incoming. Most of these communities lie along the banks of River Benue and have had to flee to safety.
In the meantime, the National Emergency Management Agency says there is need for lasting solution to flooding in parts of Lagos State, which has led to displacement of many residents, loss of lives and property. The zonal coordinator of the agency mentioned this during an assessment tour of the flood situation in the Isheri area of Lagos. He says observations made will be taken back with a view to finding solution.
This is a result of a cry from the state government, Ogun State. They invited us as part of a committee to come and see what is happening. We came with the deputy governor the other day, and we are supposed to come back to do a more thorough assessment. That's why we're here. And we've seen that most of the houses are actually affected, and there is need for a more lasting solution. I wouldn't want to, the people have said it's the dam and whatever. I wouldn't know, but I know that the deputy governor has agreed that as part of the committee, the dam managers and other people should be incorporated, and we are going to go further to discuss more and find a more lasting solution.
What we want is responsible management of Onyo Dam. Up till now, Ogun River Basin Development Authority, they are not managing the dam properly. The dam is meant to generate 9 megawatts of electricity. And if they have to generate that 9 megawatts of electricity, they will need 2 million cubic meters of water to achieve that every day. Now they are not generating any electricity. They kept those 2 million cubic meters of water behind the spillways. Now they will tell us climate change, weather is changing, so much rain, then there is need for them to push the water. The water that they should have used to power the turbines, these are the water you see here, right in our living rooms, our bedrooms, and just about everywhere.
In part 2, after the break, we'll get more insights into the rising water level, overflowing dams and plight of displaced residents across the country. We'll be joined by a lecturer from the Department of Geography in the University of Lagos, Dr. Mayowa Fashona. Please join us again.